Hey, welcome back to the Lineup Show, NFL DFS fans. I appreciate you being here. How about the Broncos last night? Guys, I've been a Broncos fan basically since I was born, so that was a very fun game to watch. It was a wild game, though, and it was too close for comfort. I got to give props to the Washington Commanders because they balled out. They showed up last night. I'd say they had me on the edge of my seat, but I wasn't sitting in a seat for most of that game. So, it was crazy, but it was a good one. My Broncos are now on top of the NFL, at least until tonight, for the first time since like 2015. Can I say that? But it's not the end of the year. It's not even the playoffs. So hopefully they can maintain that. And but it's at least good to see. And I am going to go over now the Monday Night Football game for you guys. The one thing I'm going to say about this, I've already made a lineup, and I didn't love the way that it turned out because I didn't have either of the top two receivers, and I really don't like that, but because of salary reasons, I was struggling to make it work. So if you guys know how you're going to make that work, please let me know in the comments because I want to see who you would leave out of the lineup or change from what I have in this lineup. But I'm going to start by looking at Drake May, who's got an excellent lineup, an excellent matchup tonight. The Giants are 30th against the quarterback. They are 23rd against the pass, or at least in pass yards allowed. They give up 227.8 pass yards a game. So Drake May's in a good spot. I just find him to be expensive to play at the captain. And honestly, I kind of like Jackson Dart more here. Jackson Dart, last two games that he played, he had 27 plus points. Fantasy points, that is. In week 7, he had 29.4. In week 6, he had 23.6. The only one he didn't have over 20 points in the last 5 games he's played was week 8, where he had 19.4. So he almost had 20 fantasy points. In the matchup there, New England's 20th against the quarterback, 18th in pass yards allowed, giving up 213.5 a game. I like Jackson Dart here. I like Wan'Dale Robinson. He's coming off a 33.6 fantasy point game. He only averages 14.1 fantasy points in a game. New England's 19th against the wide receiver. But if you look at his targets, he got 14 targets last week. That's pretty stinking solid. So I think that's why I would like him. He got 9 in week 11. He got 11 in week 10. He got 11 in week 9. So he gets a lot of targets. 12 in week 7. It really makes me want to play him. I'm just not seeing it salary-wise, how I'm going to do that. Same thing with Stephon Diggs. I really like Stephon Diggs. He's only averaging 13 fantasy points a game, but New York's 26th against the wide receiver. And as we said, they're 23rd in pass yards allowed. I like him here, but I also don't know how much I think TreVeyon Henderson is going to take away from him, because I think TreVeyon Henderson, who's only averaging 11.7 fantasy points a game, but he had 32.3 in week 11. I realize that was without Ramondre Stevenson. He's in a spot where New York's 31st against the running back and 32nd. They are last in the league in rush yards allowed. They give up 157.2 rush yards a game. And if you look, he only got one less attempt last week than he did with Ramondre Stevenson out. He had 18 attempts last week, so and he had 4 targets and 3 receptions on those 4 targets. It appears to me that Henderson is the guy to go with from New England, but I wouldn't blame you for playing Ramondre Stevenson either. Tyrone Tracy, I don't want to play him here. New England's second against the running backs, second in rush yards allowed. They only give up. I went away from it too quick, but they give up 87.7 rush yards in a game on average. That is not a good matchup for him, so I'm staying away from it. Hunter Henry coming off a game where he had 27.5 fantasy points, but New York is 11th against the tight end, and I really don't see them needing to throw him the ball a lot here. Part of me still expects him to have a good game, but for salary reasons and everything, and other players that I like better, I'm going to avoid him. Kayshon Boutte, he's had some good games, but the last 2 games he's played were not very great. One of them, maybe he got hurt, it looks like. But New York's 26th against the wide receiver, as we said. He just doesn't get as many targets as I would like. He only had 2 in Week 12. He had 1 in Week 9. Again, it looks like possibly he got injured in that game because he didn't play in Week 10 or 11, which I think one of those might have been a bye week. But one of those games, at least, he did not play in. So, yeah. Actually, I don't think... Yeah, that was not a bye week. They played both those weeks. So he missed 2 games there. Anyways, I don't like Kayshon Boutte here. Darius Slayton, I like as a receiver, but same thing. He hasn't got much targets the last couple of games, so I don't want to play him. Mac Hollins has seen some targets. He had 6 in Week 12, 4 in Week 11, 6 in Week 10. That kind of changes things for me. He only averages 7.4 a game, but I think I like him. I think I might even play him. I say that because I've already made my lineup and he was in it. I also like Theo Johnson, who's averaging 9.3 fantasy points a game. But New England is 27th against the tight end. I expect him to have a good game here as well. I like the Patriots defense. I don't think I'm going to play them. New York's 20th against the defense, and I think they're going to get points in this game. I see it happening. I do like Borregales. He's coming off an 18-point fantasy game. And New York is 24th against the kicker. I like him here. I don't know. Salary-wise, I didn't get him. I had him in my lineup, and I took him out. I don't like Younghoe Koo. I just don't like the matchup. I don't see them. I think they need touchdowns, not field goals. I kind of like Douglas here, except for the lack of targets that he gets. I'm not going to play him, I think, due to the lack of targets. I do, however, like Hodgins. Isaiah Hodgins has had back-to-back games with 6 targets. He only got 2 of 6 in Week 12, but he caught 5 of 6 in Week 11. He's had double-digit fantasy points in both of those games, so I do like him here. Don't like the Giants' defense against New England. That's pretty much it as far as the guys that I like. So just to show you the matchup that I came up with, or the lineup that I came up with, I went ahead, I put Travion Henderson as my captain. I did Drake May. I did Jackson Dart. And unfortunately, the big thing that I don't like is skipping Wan'Dale Robinson and Stephon Diggs. Skip Hunter Henry, skip Boutte, Slayton, all these guys. I put Mac Hollins in due to the targets. I put Theo Johnson and also Mac Hollins just due to the salary. I had Hodgins in there. And this is the lineup I came up with. I like it quite a bit. I would kind of like to get Borregales in there, and I want those top 2 receivers. So if you guys can show me a way that you like to fit all those guys in there and make this work, please let me know. But I want both quarterbacks in. Personally, I maybe would fade Jackson Dart, but I don't think so. And I also like Theo Johnson and Hodgins quite a bit. So this is what I came up with, guys. Let me know what you think. I appreciate you watching. Feel free to subscribe. I wish you the best for your lineup, and God bless.